Alright, this is part 2 of the Aboriginal project. Like I was saying, I usually put all the paint supplies on a tray. The trays are also usually with the paintbrushes and the water containers, so I'll try and label that cabinet. I try and only fill up 8 egg cartons for this project, and then the whole time I'm doing the project, I just use the same egg carton. We just close them up at the end of the day. Sometimes, it's pretty dry in here, so in between classes I might wrap it up in plastic. There are plastic bags over by the kiln room, and those are labeled in a drawer. But this allows you to be able to have just one container per table. You can refill as necessary. We've got lots of different colors of tempera paint. I know it's hard to see all of them. The document camera, because it's not very true to life. But I usually put out in the beginning for the line part like 3 colors, because I don't want them to use all of them. So I might put out black and white and then one other color. But this works out pretty well. As long as it's on the tray, the kids usually do a good job of not mixing the colors and they don't run together. And then that cuts down on your prep time and also on waste. So I also put a paper towel with some brushes, and I use the finest point brushes that we have, and some water to clean out your paint. So I talked to them a little bit about how to paint a detail line, because a lot of them don't know what to do. And so I tell them, pick 2 colors out of the 3 that you have, and I show them how to actually apply the paint, because a lot of them don't know, or they haven't been taught. I tell them, don't dip your whole brush in like this, or you'll have way too much paint. What you can do, though, is just dip in gently. And then I tell them it's a really good idea to make sure that they have enough paint on their brush and just kind of drag across. Sometimes you may have to change position of your hand. That's hard to see because the color is not very good right now. Dave, do you think we can fix that? We can't? Okay. Sorry, Erin. Or wish it was better. And I show them what happens when you're painting sometimes that, it may not cover it up if it's a light color, so you can always wait and do a second coat. But if you run out of paint, you definitely should stop and get more paint on your brush. A lot of them try to paint like 50 lines with just one swipe of the paintbrush, and it ends up looking bad, and then they're worried about it. So that's one thing that you can tell them. I also talk about not mixing the colors, because this is not that kind of a project. You have to use what's already in your palette. Rinse out your brush completely. I'm a little bit sensitive to the fact that to get the water off the brush, they like tap, and then water goes everywhere. It's a big pain in the butt, so I tell them wiggle on the inside of your water container, and that should dry it up enough. And so I just kind of go around and show them some different, like how I would outline a couple different parts of the line details. And we talk about, how much is enough, because you don't want to have too many. Some of them like to put the line details in the background. Some like to put it on the environmental objects or the animal. It just doesn't matter. So that's the 3rd day, and they work on that. And I have them use the drying rack. We talk about how to use that. Have them be really, really careful with that drying rack, Erin, because it's very, very heavy. And I had one kid first trimester who was goofing around over there, and another kid trying to put their artwork on there, and he almost broke his hand, because half the shelves almost came down on his hand. So usually, if you have a bigger class, I usually have a pinch hitter have their job be during painting projects to kind of supervise that area. They're very good at that. At this age, they love to micromanage each other. So it's actually a very good reason to micromanage. So the last day of this project, they're usually the 4th or 5th day, depends on the kids. we talk about adding the dot details. And before I even demonstrate mine, I might show them some examples of kids that have done this in the past and how they've added the dots. And I show them, you know, at this point you can use usually like 3 or 4 more colors. We talk about why you shouldn't use all of the colors because it's ridiculous and it makes